All right, thank you, Allie. Well, he's done it again. Ron Paul wins the CPAC straw poll for the second straight year. The Texas congressman garnered 30% of the votes yesterday attending, but does it actually mean anything?
Well, let's ask him himself. Congressman Ron Paul joins us live on the phone this morning. Good morning to you, Congressman.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Great to have you. 30% you took home at the CPAC conference, the second straight year. The one thing we have not heard out of your mouth, like everyone else on that list, are you running for president in 2012?
I haven't decided yet. I'm uncertain. There are a lot of other things for me to consider in the next month or so.
Like what?
Well, just a lot of personal things and political things, and I just have to make a major decision as time goes on. And I notice the other candidates aren't all that interested in making a declaration either.
Yeah, we've asked Governor Mike Huckabee, of course, about that. He says he won't make any sort of announcement or plan for a little while yet, quite a while yet. But we asked him yesterday here on the couch about CPAC, and specifically whether or not his attendance there was needed and why he decided to skip it. I wanted you to respond to what he had to say about it.
If you want to be part of the dog and pony show and the parade, and I'm not really interested right now in having everybody speculate. And the whole straw poll thing, I think it's typically a pay for play. If you want to pay people's registrations and then it looks like you've done something great, I just don't want to get into all that.
Congressman, is Governor Huckabee wrong or right?
Well, I think he does have a point. You know, there's a lot of activity there. It's not exactly a national poll. I tend to agree with that, but it's still is significant. I mean, why would a person like Mitt Romney, who seems to be getting all the attention, feel like it's very important to be there? So nobody asked him. You know, if he'd have won it, I don't think anybody would have asked Mitt Romney, you know, whether there was any significance to this. You know, I think it's interesting that all of a sudden they wonder about the significance of this little poll. But I think Governor Huckabee has a point. I don't think this reflects the whole people, but it does reflect what the young people are thinking, which is what excites me.
Another person who made quite a few waves this week was Donald Trump. He appeared there and he said, quite off the cuff, that to your supporters, who were very enthusiastic as ever, he said, look, we all know Ron Paul can never win. What's your response to Trump?
Well, you know, I remember people saying that many, many years ago when I started running, and most people give me the credit that I have run on the same position, you know, all the time I've been in politics. So whether it was in the 1970s, 80s, or the 90s, I've always said the same thing, and that is the same philosophy. So they say, well, you can't possibly win. You challenge the Republicans. You're in a Republican district, very, very conservative, and it's George Bush territory. You can't win. You can't win. But I've won 11 times, so I don't know whether anybody who's never run a race or won a race is going to be the judge of whether or not an individual can win. So I realize the difficulty. I know all the odds and the rest, but I'm just not sure anybody knows exactly what the future would bring because, quite frankly, I've always leaned in the direction of saying, well, yes, I'm on the cutting edge. I really want to follow the Constitution, and that hasn't been popular. And I'm always impressed on how far along we've come. I mean, who would have ever dreamed a few years ago that our monetary system would get the attention? I consider that very, very important. But now the young people on the campuses are studying Austrian economics and sound money, and they know about how silly paper money is and why that gives us booms and busts and unemployment. So I think that's exciting.
And, Congressman, and you're right about that because we saw what happened with the freshman round of and rookie Republicans who came in and sort of forced the old guard of the Republican Party to offer up more cuts, $100 billion in cuts. But there's a battle looming, of course, as President Obama unveiling his budget. Tomorrow, what can we expect?
Well, I think when the dust settles, we can expect that we're not going to achieve what we should be achieving. I just think that it's so difficult. I look at it like it's alcoholism, and we're trying to wean people off. Have you ever heard of an alcoholic being successfully treated by saying, well, I'm going to drink one less beer today, and every day drink a little less? That's why it's not a budgetary problem. What we as a country, as a people, and maybe the next generation, your generation will have to decide, do we want a government this size that believes in welfare redistribution and government medicine and government education? Mm-hmm. Do we believe that we have to police the world? Do we believe that we have to tell you what you can eat, drink, and smoke, and how much salt you can put on your food, and how much exercise you get? Do you believe in that? That is what the issue is. It isn't. The budgetary part is a symptom. It's a reflection of what people think the government ought to do. That's why I think, cutting 50 billion or 100 billion won't work. Alcoholics can't be treated that way, and
Congressman,
I'm just unfortunately I can't be as optimistic as I would like to be.
To one of the points you made about policing the world, you were one of the few people talking about Egypt all week at CPAC. You did say that you disagree that the U.S. has a moral responsibility to spread our goodness around the world. You added that we need to do a lot less, a lot sooner, not only in Egypt, but around the world. What are you saying? We ought to stop the foreign aid around the world and stop the spread of democracy?
Well, no, I don't think those two go together. I said we should do a lot less. If you really want to spread the goodness of America, I said you set a good example. You can't spread goodness with force. So you can't go over and say, we are going to put the next person in. See, I didn't like the idea in 1953, which I remember when we forcibly put the Shah of Iran, in charge, and it led to the Ayatollah taking over. So I don't like that. But if we did our job right, if we set an example and had free markets and prosperity and had trade with people and friendship with people, people would want to act like we do. But we don't want to say that you will be like us, and if you will be like us, we'll pay you and you be our dictator. And that's more or less what we did in Egypt. We paid them $70 billion over all these years, and it led to instability, and it leads to these crises, and we don't even know yet. I thought the revolution in Egypt was just grand. I thought it was wonderful, rebelling against this oppression. But what is going to be the outcome? Are we going to be involved in the military, and it's our money?
Well,
so that's what I'm worried about.
Of course, you're not alone, and we shall see as these days unfold. But Congressman Ron Paul, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your perspective with us, and we look forward to you coming back when you're ready to make a decision.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Congressman.
Bye-bye.